Welcome back to Last Play. We're about to become seaside supermodels by taking a photo at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Screw doing, like, the thing we're supposed to be doing. We gotta take a picture. Actually, I think one thing that didn't get shown while we were on camera, I was doing a side quest, and Prompto wanted to take a picture of a Domino, or one of those, like, big monsters in the lake. And I didn't realize that I had one chance to take the photo, so I'm like, alright, make a pose for the photo, and they snapped it while I was still like a kilometer away, and it's just like, really, guy? I'm like, I didn't know I only had one shot.
Yeah.
I thought you were just gonna like take it until I got like bit, and then I'd just warp away. Oh, look at that. Oh, I didn't know Iris was there too. It's a nice little
Aww,
photo.
that's cute.
Oh, also, I forgot to focus on it, but Iris was definitely flirting with Noctis just before the camera snapped.
Yeah, lol. I saw that just like turned towards him.
Yep. It's like, oh, is Noctis in this picture? Yes! Photo proof that we once knew each other.
Right.
That's what you need. Once you depart, you will lose access to the open world for a while, and rental chocobos will automatically return to the post. Oh, but I can't do... Okay, I guess I'm not doing side quests. Off we go to Altissa.
Never seen one of these before.
Bring me the parts. Oh,
Bring me the
never mind.
parts, and
I'm talking
I'll
to
take
Sid now
care of the
instead.
rest.
Oh. I do need to upgrade that engine blade.
Fixing to upgrade? Can
But
do.
the question is, Sid, do I need money? Oh.
Whoa. Nif make this time?
Da-da-da-da.
Is it?
Okay, cool. Okay, well, we're gonna have to head to Altissa and not do all of these side quests. I'm sure that's not gonna come back and bite me in the anything. Or my save file will corrupt. There we go. Welcome back to Last Play. We were worried about our PS4 freezing. That's what you want.
Right.
Losing all of your progress.
Just
Despite the fact that there are
I
two
do.
redundant backups. And doggo!
Doggo! Oh! Aww. What do we got? Oh, a book this time. Oh, right, no,
Yeah,
that
it's
book
communication
with
with
yeah.
Luna.
I forgot.
Alright, what do you got to say, Luna? Waiting for you not to... Oh, shit, I'll be right there.
Oh, shit.
Getting ready
It's
to
like-
set sail.
it's like-
I'll be there as fast as I can. Got it.
Got it. It's like, baby, come over. And it's like, but
I can't.
I'm
I'm
riding
halfway across-
chocobos, and then it's like, but my parents aren't home, and he's like, got it.
Except in this case, both of my parents were murdered by an enemy
It's like,
country.
it's cool, my parents were murdered, and he's like, right, I forgot, nice. Let's go.
And then he just... boat emoji. What do you think, Prompto? Prompto. Mad that we're leaving Sydney behind. Well,
Oh,
these people will got my back.
these people will got my back.
Yep. They never sent me to grammar school when I was trying to become a kid. They felt that Ignis would just handle all of my professional communications, and all I had to do was read from a script. And if there's one thing I can do, it's read from a script. Here, let's practice. Hey, kid. Tell me something to say. I heard the regalia is going on the boat with you.
Who is this child?
I don't know.
I guess it's goodbye
Oh,
for now.
Iris isn't coming with? Shame. Oh, I wanted to read the thing, not do the quest. The entire immersive experience is gone.
Something
Oh,
like that
dang.
off my chest.
Alright, what's that? Oh, it's this guy. Hey, person that was in my party once. It's cool, Core.
Aw.
For your father.
I mean, I saw what happened. It was in the Kingsglaive movie, and boy, did he just get super murdered.
But I wasn't strong enough to uphold it.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's so sad that people like blame themselves even when it wasn't really
Ain't nothing
their
nobody
fault at
coulda
all.
done
Yeah,
to
it's
stop
like
what
you
happened.
didn't know it was happening, and you're halfway across the country.
Yeah, like, dude, like, that's
It's
not
like
your
it's hard to
fault.
like, oh wow, I should have known that I needed to be at this specific location at this specific time.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's a fairly normal thing, even though it's not necessarily like,
Even if they can't solve
Oh
your
yeah, it's
problem,
rarely justified,
Yeah.
but it's a very like, it's a very normal thing that we just like internalize. Like, oh well, that was my fault. Like
mhm.
when
I
people we
could have
care
stopped
about
this.
died. Like yeah, Or even, not even my fault, but I should have done this and I should have done that, and, you know.
Yeah, the power of hindsight is often underestimated.
Mm-hmm.
You have to always acknowledge that, like, yeah, you didn't know what you did back then.
Learn to wield not only
Yeah, it's like
weapons,
you
but
couldn't have
magic as well.
known, and like, sure, it would have been maybe nice to do those things that you're saying you should have done, but like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean you're a bad person for not having done them.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's also a thing that comes up a lot. Oh, it's just a cosmogony. I don't want to remember all of this. Never mind. It happens a lot when people are talking about, like, them, like, regretting how they spent their childhood, or been like, oh, if I wasted my youth, or, like, I made some bad decisions when I was growing up, I should have done this or this or this instead. It's like, when you're growing up, like, you know why you do what you're doing. You, like, have very specific decision-making processes, and you can't know how they're going to succeed, or whether or not they're going to succeed when you make those decisions. And so, looking back and being like, wow, I made this really important life decision that didn't work out, it's like, yeah, but you thought it would. And if it did work out, you wouldn't have regretted it. And you would have...
Yeah.
And the bigger regret would have been not taking the risk. Just being like, well,
Yeah,
this
totally.
might not succeed, so I'm just going to do nothing instead.
Yeah.
Because generally speaking, people regret more the things they didn't do rather than the things they tried to do and failed.
Mm-hmm. And plus, like, you still can learn something from that, even if you
Yeah.
fail. So, like,
Failure isn't a waste of time, it's just a different outcome.
like, there are some bad things that happened to me that, even though they were terrible, I wouldn't say I regret that they happened.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, that kind of affected, like, who I am and perspectives that I have, and I think those are important perspectives to have.
Nice.
That was a cute photo, by the way.
Yeah, we're probably very quickly approaching the thing that happens.
The thing!
Oh yeah, we just skipped through chapter 8. I suppose I'm supposed to do more side quests.
Apparently.
You know what? I have that save just before we left chapter 8. Maybe I'll just off camera
Yeah.
reload that and
Go
then catch
back.
up to where I am here. It's really fast when you skip cutscenes and stuff, so disclaimer, things might be different the next episode. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
Because yeah, I feel like straight up missing chapter 8 is not good for the long-term success
Yeah.
of anything.
Probably not.
That being said, we're about to meet Luna Freya.
Hey!
Hey, Lamau. There's probably only like 7 chapters remaining.
Yo!
Because if it's Final Fantasy 15, I doubt there's more than 15 chapters.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Which
15
means
chapters
your
and an
math is
epilogue.
off.
Well, I was
off.
counting the epilogue too.
Oh, it's an epilogue. Okay.
Of course there's an epilogue.
This is my first Final Fantasy game. I don't really...
This is the first Final Fantasy game to use a chapter system.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, by the way, while we're playing Final Fantasy, we should mention what we did this weekend, Tyler.
Oh yeah, Distant Worlds was last weekend.
Yeah.
Which is the Final Fantasy concert.
Yeah,
I
it
guess
was...
by the time this episode's out, it'll be like several weekends ago. But
Yeah, I mean, yeah, by the time this is up, it would have been a few weeks now, but like... It was, Tyler's sister and I, we pitched together to buy Tyler tickets to that show, for his birthday. So, that was really cool. So it was me, Tyler, Tyler's sister, and Tyler's dad. Because Tyler and, Tyler's sister grew up playing them together. And, your brother a little bit too, or mostly just your sister?
less so for my brother.
Yeah. So like, you know, it was kind of their thing, and so it was really nice that she was able to come too.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, her work schedule is a little like
Crazy. Both of my
inconsistent
siblings
and
have.
crazy. Yeah.
Well, actually, all 3 of us have work schedules that are basically we are busy constantly and always.
Your brother is the worst for it.
Not many opportunities.
But like, well,
yeah.
but you're probably equally busy to your brother, but
I
it's
don't
not
get paid
from
for
work.
my work.
Yeah, it's not from work. It's from like your volunteer stuff.
Yeah.
So it's slightly different. But like,
But yeah.
Yeah, so that was really nice. And like I said, 15 is the only Final Fantasy game that I have, well, I'm not even really playing this, but experienced, I guess.
Yeah.
So not very much of the music is familiar to me, but Tyler has played some for me, like both on just YouTube clips or like Tyler knows a few of them on the piano. So I've been exposed to some, and so but still, even like the stuff that I didn't know, it was all so beautiful. Like they had their own orchestra that was touring with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a really cool show. They had clips from whatever game the song came from running in the background all the time.
Mm-hmm. Which, in my opinion, they could do a lot more with. Because it's the clips they use are basically just like cross sections of the game and like just they're usually vaguely related to the song, but I feel like they could be a lot more related. It's difficult to explain exactly how they could be better, but like one of the best examples is a song that they didn't play, the Aria di Mezzo Carattere, which is the I don't even know if they play it alone, but it's part of the opera in Final Fantasy VI. And the one thing they don't really do is just give you a scene-by-scene recreation of when that song plays, so it can be a good like nostalgia bait for like, here's this scene again, but with orchestrated music. And for people that aren't familiar, it's like, this is where this song appeared. This is why it's important.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. The one criticism I have of it is that the visual aid that shows it is rarely utilized great. The one thing they did do well is when they did Final Fantasy VIII's battle music. What they did is they basically take the scene from the beginning where you're with Cypher and just doing the initial seed test, and it's just the part where you are just running. It's like shows this short cutscene of them deciding to break the rules and then like running, and then like the moment a random encounter happens on stage, they start playing the battle music. And it creates this really cool, like, immersive effect, and that's, like, something they did really well, and I feel like they should do that for more songs. Think about how the music interacts with the visual aid in a more direct way, rather than just like, oh, here's random clips from Final Fantasy VI because we're playing Terra's theme.
Yeah. I really liked the Chocobo song. I know there are many variations of that song. They talked about that in the concert, but just like the C H O C O B O. It was like a little party, a little cheerleader party. It was great.
Yeah, it's such a party song, the Chocobo theme. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why it lends itself so well to other genres, because it's mostly a very simple melody with and the back support for it can be basically anything.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the different versions are like, what if we do this with like maracas playing the theme?
Yeah.
By far, my favorite version of it though is the heavy metal version that appeared in Final Fantasy 13 too, which is just is related to one of the reasons I like Final Fantasy 13 2 so much, is because the music in that game is very cool. Not just in like it's good music, but in the way the music is related to the rest of the game. The way it integrates itself into the themes and like the storytelling of the game is incredible. But even then, like the heavy metal Chocobo theme itself is this weird, because it's basically like your stereotypical heavy metal where it's like heavy guitar riffs and like shouting and like to the Chocobo theme, but like it's the Chocobo theme, and so it's a little bit weird to begin with, and then he's singing about like these lyrics about how the Chocobo is like the most badass and cute thing to ever exist in this like shout-o screamo song, and it's just this great like bit of musical satire that I feel needs more recognition, because no one played Final Fantasy 13 2, unfortunately.
Yeah, I haven't even heard the heavy metal version, and I'm living for it. Like just what I'm imagining in my head, like just some real like guttural growls of the like see.
It's even
just
better.
I'm just so ready for it.
So you should look it up. I can't necessarily post it onto a video because the music and all that, but the heavy metal Chocobo theme is great.
We can put a link in the description.
Yeah, link in the description. I'll remember to do that for sure. Oh, this is quite the boat ride. I really hope what they're saying isn't particularly important, because I have not paid attention to a single word that they're saying. They're talking about Cindy now, at least. And there's a little skip button there, probably useful for... If there's a skip button there, it's likely they're not talking about anything all that important. That being said, it's just them being bros, hanging out on a boat. Which is interesting. This game's... when this game came out, it was actually really interesting for the fact it features like 4 men in the cast, because what had just come out... Grand Theft Auto 5 came out just before this game started getting a lot of publicity. And Grand Theft Auto 5 was criticized for having no women in their main cast. They had 3 main characters, all of them men. Assassin's Creed had taken out the ability to play female characters in one of their most recent games, and people were like, why is that? Yeah. And both of those companies offered really, really terrible explanations on why that was the case. Where Assassin's Creed is like, oh, we didn't have the resources to create models for female characters.
Too much programming, man.
And it's like...
It's too much work.
Oh, really? And it's like, you have these models that of female assassins, and like they have all of the resources. They're a major company. Like, the fact that they were trying to claim that they didn't have the resources to make a female main character were absolutely hogwash.
Yeah.
And a lot of people called them out on that. Meanwhile, in GTA 5, they had a little bit of a better explanation. It's like, why are there no female characters in your main cast? And they're like, we didn't feel... No, they didn't say we didn't feel like it. They gave us like, a great world, this like really convoluted answer. It was like, oh, historically we haven't, and like we're really designing it with this in mind, and it's like...
It's like...
I suppose...
Hey, but like...
And then, like, trailers for this game came out, and unlike Final Fantasy 13, which had a split cast, this one is all men, and they're like, why are there no women in your main cast? And they're basically like, because we want to tell a story about how these 4 boys are different when they're among, like, their fiancé, when they're among, like, Gladio's sister, how they change functionally when they're just together being, like,
dudes
friends.
Being bros.
And how that changes when they're, like, interacting with, like, greater society, and how their, like, emotional states... Basically, he had a long explanation about like how they tend to suppress their like expressions when they're in public, but together they're like chummy and like really friendly towards each other. And it's about exploring that like weird split in masculinity where you're not allowed to express feelings, but when you're in private, you have a little bit more opportunity to do so. And it's like that's cool. If this is a stylistic choice to tell that specific story, then like 0% an issue.
Yeah.
Seems in order.
And also, they look so like brooding and like.
Yeah, they're
now that they've landed here, like.
They were like chatting in the boats, like taking pictures and being like, "Yeah, let's talk about literally anything." Now it's like, all right, back to business.
Yeah.
And that's a story that they're trying to tell, and so the reason why they don't have female characters actually in the main cast is justifiable. Like, it's hard to find an issue with that. Especially since, like, there's a lot of women in the supporting cast. It's not like it's...
Yeah, it's not like
it's not like it's Lord of the Rings, where it's like, there is no woman except for Eowyn.
Yeah. They literally invented a female character for the movie.
Yeah, because
they're like, wow.
Wow, the entirety of The Hobbit has no women in it. That's probably an issue.
That's probably not ideal. I mean... like... That's so frustrating.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 was actually Final Fantasy series as a whole has been pretty good for having female main characters. Probably one of the earliest RPGs to do so, with Terra being probably the main character in Final Fantasy VI. Though the main character of Final Fantasy VI is everyone and no one at the same time. But Terra probably has the highest claim for it. Second place probably being a tie between Celeste and Locke. So... that's been pretty good.
What is the purpose of your visit?
And then of course they've actually been pretty, like, for a Japanese company.
What's the purpose of your visit?
Ignis, take it away. For a Japanese company and RPG.
Lol.
Well,
We are scholars of the culinary arts, and we've come
Nice.
to study the renowned
Lol.
cuisine of your
good cover, Ignis. They've been pretty good for diversity. They haven't been perfect, but given that like Japan as a whole is pretty bad for racial diversity, they've had like one of the first well-developed black character was in Final Fantasy VII, Barrett.
Right, yeah, I remember seeing clips of that character.
Yeah, because like RPGs and even video games as a whole has a real problem with like creating extraordinarily stereotypical like tokenizations of minority characters,
Especially black characters.
yeah, but like Barrett's main character traits was that he was basically he was the head of a eco-terrorist resistance group who was like very like hard lined, like strict, but like caring both of his kids and of the people behind him, and he swore a lot. And so he had like a fully developed interesting character. He was like and a fully fleshed out backstory, and wasn't based around stereotypes or tokens, and that was actually really interesting. Whereas since there haven't been very many people of color in Japanese RPGs, just in general, which
Yeah.
is part of, which makes a little bit more sense because Japan is a little bit more is a little bit less racially diverse than North America,
Yeah, they're pretty homogenous,
but
but like these
there is still
characters don't
diversity.
even really look Asian. Like they look white.
yeah, they look vague, like Noctis
Some
looks
of them,
vaguely Asian.
yeah, I was gonna say Noctis does look vaguely Asian, but like most of the time, they generally just look like white people, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
which
kind of sad.
yeah, well,
You know, I don't know. It just feels like
it's difficult because, especially with video game modeling, a lot of people, just because of white supremacy, a lot of the times they like practice making these features, and they'd have to go out of their way to specifically make Asian features.
so. It's just more kind of in the same vein as Assassin's Creed. It's like that's extra work to make an Asian character because
it's
I'd
not-
have to learn how to make Asian.
It's not
facial
even that.
features.
It's more like a subconscious thing that they like. When you're trained to do 3D modeling, the ideal form that you're taught how to do properly is that of white features of
That's
white
so
people, and so
sad.
you have to put explicit effort into not doing that in order to make characters that are racial minorities, and that's kind of the reason why they're a little bit that's one of the reasons, not the only one. It's one of the reasons why they're overrepresented in digital media, because when you consider like most JRPGs use cartoon anime type animations and models, like the idea that they're white is a little bit complex because their anime features are not necessarily, they're exaggerated in a very specific style, and it's hard to like imply the difference between a white character and a black character. There's actually a huge discussion in like the new Death Note where Light is played by a white man, and a lot of people are like, well, he was white in the anime. It's like, no, he was Japanese in the anime. He
Yeah.
didn't look all that Japanese because in anime everyone is just vaguely Japanese.
Yeah.
And if it's very easy to assume that they're white if you're not paying attention to the fact that this is taking place in Japan and he's a Japanese citizen, and he's not like, there's not like Ignis here who is ostensibly not from the same country, and he's he's like someone who's, because he's an advisor, he's like got a little more international repertoire, and that kind of checks out.
Oh, there's supposed to be a real good photo spot around here.
I'm not really feeling up to it. You know what? That'll be a good way to end the episode. Let's take a photo
Yeah.
op to bookend all this
Check it
stuff.
out. Yeah, let's go.
Progress markers.
Nice. Head to the photo spot. So yeah, the diversity, like the one company that's been really good for diversity is Atlas with Persona 4 and
Renee really impressed me today.
I assume Persona 5. But
Yeah.
Persona 4 is like
I didn't get to
legendary.
play that yet.
Yeah, I still want to. Persona 4 gets a lot of props for the first representation of a good gay character in video games in a time where like good gay characters in video games are almost unheard of.
Yeah.
Like I played a game called Enchanted Arms, which decided to just put really weird drag queen elements into one of their characters.
Is it a villain?
No, he's sort of like the Han Solo of the cast, where he just kind of appears out of nowhere and then like does stuff and then does his own thing, but gave him really weird like draggy qualities that disappeared halfway through the game,
Glad for you that Lady Lou
That's-
Frey-
and stuff like that just happens all the time,
Odd.
and it's really weird. Whereas Atlas is just like, here's a character who's a teenager struggling with their sexuality,
Yeah.
because the entirety of society is being all like, hey, guess what? The fact
That's
that you
only.
Yeah, the fact that you like sewing and you enjoy cute things is unacceptable.
Yeah,
And
you're
he's
a
like-
man.
Yeah.
Be a man.
And so his struggle isn't necessarily with his sexuality, but with how people have equated his more feminine traits with his sexuality and framed it in this huge negative light. And his struggle is basically the fact that the entirety of society has conflated gender and sexuality and is really bullying him for it. And so he has this really in-depth character arc that's probably one of the best representations that video games has to offer so far. And also in the same game they have a trans character who is low-key like, yeah, it's no big deal. And there's from an execution standpoint they make a couple missteps, but it's not exactly bad representation. They just make specifically they make one what's up? They make one bad choice in like how to start like the romance arc with the trans character. You really have to know homo it. And it's like you could not have done it that way, and it's one thing that's like criticized that like it's actually in the scene where you have to know homo it to start the relationship path. It's actually the worst answer you can pick, but it's also the one you have to pick in order to start the romance path. So it's almost like it's a disagreement between programmers and like settings where like someone on staff was like, this is how you should do, and then someone kind of misstepped and did it in a different way. Alright, I can't find out where this photo op is because it's in the lower section. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is such a confusing city. I am lost. I am hopelessly lost. Next time on Last Play, we will probably skip the photo op and keep going. It depends how easy it is to find it. Next time on Last Play.